Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Saturday HOA Brunch, presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. Please sit back, relax, and join Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick for an hour of entertaining information about HOAs and HOA law.
That's it, Frank? No intro this week? All right, I guess we're on the air. Thanks, Frank. I guess usually I have to get in the mood. So I'm used to the welcome to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry, LLP.
But instead, it's up to us. Welcome to the Saturday HOA Brunch. Episode 79, KTKZ, the answer, 1380. And what's the number to call us, Jonathan?
888-923-1380.
And our text line
is that still, up and running?
No, it's still out of order.
All right. You
Brought
can't
to you
get
by
text.
Angius&Terry, and so today we're going to talk about a couple different things, right?
Dueling show is what you said.
Right, dueling topics.
Are we going to talk about all the medals Frank Jolly won in the over 50 Olympics?
Well, let's hear from him, hopefully.
Well, he doesn't like to participate anymore. We're still on contract with trying to get him on the air.
The contract negotiations.
Yeah. But I'm excited, though. One of our number one fans is in the studio with us today.
Oh, we're so happy.
The famous BK. Brandon Canner wants to talk about portfolio management. Did you get authorized to do this through the, corporate ladder?
Of course.
Of course.
Welcome, Mr. Canner.
Thank you. Great to be here
Today? You're looking great.
I am feeling fantastic. This morning I have a face for radio.
You do. And but you know what? You look like you're in pretty good shape. You've been playing a lot of golf?
No. Just hitting the gym really hard. Yeah.
Really?
Eating right. You got to cut out the carbs. So
doing CrossFit and stuff like that?
Got to do the CrossFit, yeah.
Awesome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do in the great homeowners association industry? How long have you been in the industry? What it's, you have this big title, portfolio manager, you like to brag about.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, what does that mean? Tell us.
So I've been in the industry, I guess, about 7 years now, 7 years. Started up here in Sacramento and have been out in the Bay Area for about 4 years now. But in that time, managed, like you said, a portfolio of properties. And basically what that means, it's a smaller set of properties that don't have the financial backing or to necessitate a...
What? Necessitate what? Go ahead. Keep going.
Necessitate an on-site person. So their time is split between, or my time is split between a bunch of different properties. So balancing what each property needs and making sure that all of the requirements, the civil code, are met on a weekly, monthly,
got your
annual
finger up.
basis.
That means you want to say something important. Go ahead, counselor.
Right. I just want to make sure our listeners know exactly what you're saying, because that sounds to me
complicated.
Like not okay. I was going to say challenging.
Yeah.
That's basically like you have 7 children that you need to take care of, because that's how much you care about your associations that you do work for.
Yeah. Funny enough, we were talking about it earlier in the week, and I was saying it's like having
a daycare.
Well, I was a nest of little baby birds, and you have to feed every baby bird. But the only difference is all the baby birds are across California, and you're zigzagging to feed the birds, a couple times in Foster City, then you're in Union City, then Hercules, all over, and trying to make sure that everybody is
it's a good metaphor.
Well-nourished.
That is a metaphor, right? Or is it a simile or analogy? That's a metaphor.
Metaphor.
Yeah.
Baby bird feeder.
I've always been impressed by successful community association managers that do portfolios where they can actually successfully manage that many associations. Back in the day, 21 years ago, the first manager that I was assisting, she managed 21 associations. Back in the day. But I guess back then you didn't have to comply with any laws, so it's a lot easier.
Yeah. A lot of people that I've been in the industry for a long time that I chat with say that email has been a positive and a negative, because it's lowered or it's decreased the response time that everybody requires. So it's almost instantaneous. When somebody sends you an email, they want the response right away. And so
you're on call essentially then. I mean, you have a smartphone, you get an email. So one of your board members could email you this morning and go, "Hey, Brandon, there's flooding right now on our property."
Would that happen? Would that happen on a Saturday morning where you'd get emergency emails but you wouldn't get standard routine, just part of the job. They wouldn't be talking to you. Would board members talk to you in an email on Saturday morning?
Do your board members like you?
That's the question.
I keep hoping so. We never know. Yeah.
No, but how many properties now? I mean, because you said 21 years ago when they were still using stone and chisels to operate associations.
Back then, this Davis Sterling Act was still in effect, right? That was past 1986.
Yeah.
So we're talking 21 years ago, 1995.
So
yeah,
that was 21 associations in 1995. One manager managed.
Yeah.
How many doors could that be? Thousands of doors? Thousands of homeowners? She's like the mayor of 20,000 doors.
Yes, sir.
Now, jump ahead with all this technology and computers and databases, and you work for one of the leaders in the nation, right? First Service Residential. It's a huge company, corporate. You're a corporate guy. I can see it the way you part your hair.
I'm wearing my white shirt and my collar.
With a tie, right?
How many associations do you manage?
So First Service has really been great about keeping that number low.
Yeah.
So on average, it's about 5 to 6 properties.
That's it. That's why you're always out of the office.
That's it.
That's why you're out of the office.
That's
golfing.
why he's always at the gym.
He's golfing all the time.
Plenty of time to work out.
There's a lot of nuance that goes into the day-to-day management of a property. Yeah. And so if you get anything over that, unless you're have a dynamite assistant, you're barely scratching the surface.
You have a dynamite assistant?
We do have a great support staff that we work with, not only here in the East Bay, but we in Southern California as well.
Really?
That support us, yeah.
You've got an assistant in Southern California that
helps
you
out? Support staff.
Support staff is throughout the state. Do you have a particular assistant that is devoted strictly to you? No.
Okay. So I know some at companies I've been in the past, they've had just somebody assigned to you. But the way that it's structured is that it's kind of based on the property, because each property has different challenges. And, just like you have attorneys that specialize in certain things, we have support staff that are quite good at, if it's a community that needs
facilitate
nurturing. You. Yeah.
Wow. Man, that's exciting.
No, well, let him finish his thought, though. All so right. You're saying there's particular assistants that, say, might have expertise with, say, a senior citizen association?
That's true, yeah. Because you have, retired people have a little bit more time on their hands. And because of that, there's a lot more that goes involved into managing those properties. And it's not so much on an administrative side, it's more of on a customer service side.
Yeah, and that is key, right? So clearly you have been successful. You have been now managing for 7 years. And throughout that time, you have managed many associations. And you have now been with First Service.
3 years on Monday.
Last Monday.
Really?
Really.
Wow.
And the managers at First Service are
hopefully I'll still have a job Monday.
Not after this show. We'll see. Yeah, the managers at First Service are excellent. And so have you been able to just flourish over there? It sounds like you have, right? We've known you for a while, and it sounds like you're really doing great.
I really do enjoy the atmosphere because there's such a support network, not only, like I said, in our office, but throughout
the corporate ladder.
Yeah, that they really do have great systems in place to let you succeed.
Okay,
they've done it. They've been around the block, like you said.
Their infrastructure is legit,
and they really know what it takes to manage the properties and have done that extra step to build the templates.
I guess what's the difference then between your experience working for a smaller mom and pop shop versus a national leader in community association?
Well, how do you know he's been working for a mom and pop shop?
Well, he has before. I know.
Oh, you just know
I've known
that.
him for a long time.
All right.
I've known him for a long time. You have worked for a mom and pop shop.
Yeah, when I started my career,
Well, we'll find out the answer to
suitors.
that. So hold your thought.
Yeah.
You're going to stay with us to the second segment,
yeah,
right?
Go grab. There's donuts down the hall. Go grab one, Brandon. We'll be back right after the break to talk about what is it, the life of a portfolio manager.
If your community association has a good relationship with their current management company, you can stop listening. However, if you are struggling with your current service provider, we'd love to talk with you to see if Omni Community Management would be a good fit. Transparency, education, communication, and trust are just 4 of the qualities that set Omni apart. This is Rolf Crocker, CEO of Omni. Call us at 916-965-8964. That's 916-965-8964. Online at omni-mgt.com. That's omni-mgt.com. Omni Community Management, your friend in the community association management industry for over 20 years.
Have you ever heard of the saying, a person's home is their castle? Of course you have. But sometimes a construction defect can turn your castle into a catastrophe. If this happens to you, you need proper and professional representation. You need Angius&Terry, LLP. For over 30 years, the attorneys at Angius&Terry have been effectively serving homeowners and community associations, recovering more than $500 million on behalf of their clients. Angius&Terry strives to ensure that your construction defect claims are prosecuted in an aggressive and cost-effective manner. Angius&Terry will also continue to work with homeowners and community associations after the construction defect claims are concluded to make sure that the money received from builders is spent wisely and that your interests are protected during the repair process. Don't let a construction defect turn your castle into a catastrophe. Call Angius&Terry LLP today at 916-567-1400. That's 916-567-1400. Online at angius-terry.com. Angius&Terry LLP. Professional Parking Enforcement, or PPE, was created to provide effective parking solutions for all types of parking issues. PPE focuses on parking problems of HOAs and can quickly eliminate these problems through their system of property inspection, violation updating, ticketing, and enforcement. Contact PPE today at 702-283-0628, online at ppenv.com. PPE, promoting harmony in HOAs through parking and compliance enforcement. We take time to understand your community's needs.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We solve small problems before they become big ones.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We help make your community a better place to live.
Silver Creek Association Management.
It's what we do, because an association is more than just a bunch of homes. It's a community of people. We work with you to make better communities so homeowners can enjoy better lives.
Silver Creek Association Management. Online at sc-manage.com. That's sc-manage.com.
This is AM 1380, The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. And now your hosts, Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
Cue to Piana.
HOA Brunch. Can you believe it? Episode 79.
Cut the bureaucracy.
KTKZ, The Answer, 1380. If you want to speak with Mr. Canner,
Brandon Canner.
888-923-1380. 888-923-1380. So the question I have for you, Jonathan, did you tell Mr. Canner about the initiation process in the fourth quarter of the show?
I have not. I'm
So
anxiously awaiting to tell him at the next
surprise,
break.
huh?
Yep, when we duct tape him to the chair and make him recite Frank Jolly's famous words of the 60s. I have an idea. Let's talk about, right? Do you ever read that on his website, Frank's website?
You've told
Cue
me
to
all about it.
Piana.
He started every show.
Told me all about it. All right, so Mr. Canner, I was speaking with an excellent manager yesterday. I spent some time.
I don't remember speaking with you.
Cue to Piana.
Now you have 7 years experience. This manager has 27 years.
No kidding.
One of the things that we're talking about was communication.
She needs to retire.
And how important it was to get back to the client. As an attorney, you said, do you get back to your clients in a timely manner? And of course I said yes, and I told them about our 24-hour rule and all that. In other words, if a client, a board member, or manager goes ahead and emails us, we're going to get back. It's our rule. We're going to get back to that board member, manager within 24 hours. And usually it's much quicker than that. And
that's a rule we have?
I'm still waiting on one from Jonathan from about a year ago.
Exactly. So I think one skill that you have as a
besides
manager,
your wardrobe, you do, you always...
And his workout skills is your ability to communicate with people. You definitely have that as a knack do you have any tricks of the trade, anything that you think about, or any rules that you have with respect to maybe it's getting back to your client, your board members, or just in general about communication? Any kind of tips that you can give our listeners?
Secrets to your success. We want it. We want it all.
But
give us your toolkit
about communication.
I would say this day and age, I would 75-80% of it is
making
email.
your phones charged. Make sure your phone's charged on the daily.
Is responding via the email, and First Service has a similar policy where it's the end of the next business day, and sometimes that can be daunting. I mean, I was out this week, just taking a little staycation.
Doing what?
And
golfing.
Charity work.
Okay, right.
That sort of thing. And in that time between Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I had over 400 emails. And
from
Wednesday,
6
Thursday,
associations.
Friday, 400 emails in 3 days. That is the word, right? Daunting. Yeah, I received 90 emails when I was out of the office yesterday.
I don't think I've gotten 400 all year total. You had 400 in
what
3 days?
Exactly do you even do for our company?
I just have them call me in. Just call me. Don't email me. Just call me.
Oh, you like that kind of communication, Jonathan. You like, if it's not face to face, right?
I FaceTime them right here with my phone, and we look at each other. Hey, how you doing? How are you? You can do it now. You have that iWatch.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's going to change.
Can you do that from your watch?
Yes, absolutely.
Has a camera on it too?
Yes, it does.
Via that, he'll sit at home. He's at a board meeting, having a hearing with his iWatch. Hey guys, how's everything going? You don't have one of those yet, Brandon? First Service hasn't hooked you up with an iWatch?
No. I'm not a jewelry guy. Wouldn't wear it. It would be sitting.
Jewelry?
Well, it's a watch.
Yeah, but
electronic jewelry.
Speaking of watches, you don't have one on. So how do you keep track of the time of day to be a successful community manager?
I have a sundial that I use.
Yeah. Right.
No, it is. Sometimes you start answering emails and going through the motions, responding to everybody, and the next thing you know, it's 5 o'clock, and you don't feel like you've accomplished anything.
Okay, I want to go right into this. War stories. You don't have to give the association's name or anybody involved. The most difficult situation you've been put in as a portfolio manager in your career. That one moment when you were sitting there and you're just like...
That's a tough question because I bet there's a lot. There's
got to be the one that just stands out. The one time when you're like...
Unruly homeowner, maybe. Maybe at a meeting, at a board meeting.
What is it?
Oh.
Come on, give us a war story.
There's a lot of people that... you're dealing with their homes, and in most cases, it's their most valuable asset. And so sometimes people are sensitive. And not only that, but HOAs kind of deviate from that old kind of Americana where I'm the king of my castle, this is my land. And then you have me coming in telling
the enforcer.
Yeah, you can't, you need to pick your weeds. And, it kind of irks people the wrong way. But you got to take it with a grain of salt.
So you're saying you've had confrontations? Have you had just homeowners get in your face like you're ready to go? And
One time, and it was just, he was very hostile. And what upset me most about the situation was that I let him get underneath my skin.
You did?
Yeah, and I left, and it really, to this, we're
but
talking about like 3 years ago.
That's learning experience.
Was he spitting in your face? He was just
Wasn't
abusive?
anything like that, just very,
that's it.
Confrontational. I've been fortunate that I haven't had.
You haven't had any brawls at board meetings or anything like that?
No, nothing.
Have you ever been threatened by a homeowner? What kind of threats?
I've never taken them seriously.
You never, but you've had it happen.
Just like
they've emailed you. What'd they say?
No emails. It's
verbal?
always like verbal.
Yeah.
And what'd they say? What was the threat?
Oh, this is terrestrial radio. I can't say it.
Just don't swear, but you can say it.
No, it's nothing. Just like.
Is it anything? Is it anything that actually gave you pause to say, I need to get a restraining order? I need to.
Some people have done that, right? Have you ever had a situation
all the time? I'm doing one right now
for a restraining order against a homeowner
right now?
Oh, you know what? Actually, we had your firm, which I work a lot with in the East Bay.
That's a good thing.
Write a letter
appreciate that.
to a homeowner, and because of it was not necessarily directed at me, but at the board of directors during a board meeting. She kind of just flew off the rails And so we sent her a strongly worded letter that basically said, hey, it's a privilege to be able to come to these things. And if the behavior does not change, then you will be banned from going to these certain things, certain community events.
Really?
Yeah.
And I think that an association a board of directors can ban an owner from going to
restrict their
meetings or other association events if they can show that there is a real threat, a real personal safety threat. Because, the Open Meeting Act, what does it say? It doesn't say anything about personal threats. It says owners can go to meetings. So it's still, I guess, there's no court case or statute that says a board of directors can say to an owner, you threatened Mr. Canner of First Service and physically, and so therefore you are banned from a meeting. And, that's really extreme,
I like the way
too.
he spun it, though. He goes, you know what? It's a privilege for you to come to these meetings.
Yeah.
Now, how often...
A privilege that a lot of people don't take.
Yeah, but we have a call.
Yeah,
we have
right.
a call. Frank, is that a caller that you have for us? No, he's just talking to his girlfriend or somebody. I don't know. I'm just kidding. So, what's the next question for this guy? What else do we want to know about what it's like to be a portfolio?
Well, let me ask you guys a question.
No, we don't accept questions on
this
the
is
air.
a one-way conversation. Can you imagine that? He comes on our show. He's
I'm taking over.
In the
I'm
second
taking
half,
over.
And he says, "Oh, I'm going to ask you guys some questions." Yeah, right. All right. When we come back, we're going to have a lot of questions.
That was
Canner.
me. We still have 5 minutes till the break.
that was going
Perfect.
To a break.
They're trying to cut me off here.
All right,
Hey,
give us a question.
Don't embarrass us.
We're always partners. You as a vendor, you partner with management companies, you partner with associations.
All right. Yeah.
As association attorneys, and you're an association manager, there's definitely a partnership. Definitely.
And so what skills or what do you look for in a manager that's partnering with you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They give us their business, RFPs.
Well, no.
They
More
always
so than
call
that,
us for more business, and no.
No, it's really, Jonathan.
Communication's important.
It's working as a team. It is at no time should anyone on the team, and the team doesn't just include the manager and the attorney.
The board.
It includes the board of directors. At no time should anyone throw anyone under the bus. That is unnecessary. That's kid stuff.
Yeah, don't point the finger.
Yeah, that's amateur hour. Great board members know this, and it is very rare where this ever occurs on my team. And really, it's the manager. Anyone can really set the tone. Any of those three in that tripartite relationship: the manager, the attorney, the board.
Big words today. Tripartite.
And it comes from the board president, right? The 27 year manager yesterday, he said, when I go to a new association, I'm not there to make changes unless they want the changes made. But really, as a team, it's essential because you're on stage, right? At a board meeting, especially when you have a hot issue. I've been at so many board meetings, really the board meetings that I go to as an attorney.
Well, you like going. I mean, that's kind of your hobby is board meetings.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and so by the time they have the attorney come, it's a hot issue. You can see the stress. People are, have that
flexing their muscle.
vein popping out in their forehead. And so
making threats.
My job is to calm things down. But if I'm on a team, there's preparation. By the time I get there, I've spoken with the manager. I've had a telephone conference, a conference call with the board president, the manager, and we all know the positions that we're going to take in complete compliance with the law, and to make the result for no other reason but for the community.
You save the day, kind of. You have a plan. You're like MacGyver.
I come in.
You just get, everything resolved, and you're the hero at the end of the meeting. And now you have an iWatch to do it.
But it all comes down to a great manager like Mr. Canner here. Absolutely. And so he has.
I just slipped him a 20.
He has many miles to go, but 7 years, actually, that's a long time.
All right, let's take another step back down memory. What made you decide to get into the community association industry? Like, what door opened for you, or what was it? An ad in the classifieds? You picked up the Sunday paper and you're like, oh wow, look at this problem solver. Work a lot of hours, go to board meetings during the week. I mean, deal with people that could possibly make threats against your well-being. I mean, what made you jump into the community association industry?
Well, actually, went to school up in Sacramento to be a teacher. And
no kidding. Didn't know
towards
that.
the
What'd you
end,
want to teach?
Yeah.
Just
History.
curious. History.
High school
okay.
history.
Oh, great. Wow.
Can't
Everyone had a
remember
great high school
the
history.
humanities.
I can't remember what he did last week, but he wants to teach history. Go ahead.
And it was the sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Well, you're going to get time to think about it because we're going to a break, right?
Yeah, leave
this time it is
leave
for
the
real.
listeners on the edge of their seat.
Having trouble understanding your community association's reserve study? Does your HOA's reserve study seem to be written in a strange language? Hi, I'm Robert Browning, owner of the Browning Reserve Group. At the Browning Reserve Group, we have been providing easy-to-understand reserve studies since 1999. We actually listen to our communities and help them plan for the future. Find us online at browningrg.com. That's browningrg.com or toll free at 877-708-0600. That's 877-708-0600. Clarity from complexity, the Browning Reserve Group.
If you are a community association or manager, you know your banking relationship is vital to your success. At Sacramento Bank of Commerce, a division of Redding Bank of Commerce, our industry expertise and personal attention make that task a breeze. With our specialized banking, lockbox, online banking, and remote deposit capture, trips to the bank are no longer necessary. And Sacramento Bank of Commerce can help your communities with a loan to repair, replace, or upgrade the investment. For local decisions and in-house processing, get in touch with our team today. Call Sacramento Bank of Commerce at 916-772-0131. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Does your HOA community need help with reconstruction or repairing damage caused by construction defects, dry rot, or just normal wear and tear? Hire the pros. The GB Group has been successfully serving and renovating community associations in California and Nevada for over 20 years. Find out about their service-first commitment. Call the GB Group today. Toll free 800-653-7172. That's 1-800-653-7172. Or find them online at gbgroupinc.com. That's gbgroupinc.com.
Did you see the story about the Homeowners Association? I wonder what their residents think.
I don't know, but I love my condominium association. The place looks great and is well managed, and our property values are increasing.
Well, that's a good thing.
Community Associations Institute, CAI, has helped us build a great community. They have tools for safeguarding our investment, including education for our board and professional training for our manager. Just visit CAI at responsiblecommunities.com.
Okay, responsiblecommunities.com.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. And now your hosts, Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
This is AM 1380, The Answer.
We are the Saturday HOA Brunch, right? And we're back in studio, and everyone's been waiting to hear how you got into portfolio management.
I know the anticipation was palpable.
Oh my! There was cars piling up on the freeway when we went to break.
Well, so like I was saying, I was going to school to be a teacher, and unfortunately, everything bottomed out right when I was getting ready to go in the credential program.
You mean
the economy?
The economy, yeah.
And so I had friends that were going back to school or finishing school and their credential and going back to work at Starbucks. And
good gig though, Starbucks, right?
It's
barista.
It is fun, yeah.
Go ahead.
But I was on a board of directors with for a charity
non-profit
in the Sacramento
or
area, yeah, with actually a competitor of yours.
Oh, okay, cool.
Shout out to Jen Jacobson.
There you go.
And telling my woes, and she said, "Well, give me your resume." And so I gave her my resume, and a couple weeks later, I started working with Massingham and Associates. Now Associate.
Now it's Associate.
In Roseville.
Really?
On site at one of their bigger properties.
And that's when you just blossomed into this corporate portfolio manager.
It was magical.
The rest is history. So you have been on site then?
Yeah.
What's tell our listeners the difference, just in the general terms, On-site, what's the difference between an on-site manager and a portfolio manager? You got that one handled?
The personal
Can you do
touch.
that?
Yeah.
But on-site is where you have one association.
One association.
Spend all day at that particular association.
I'll tell you what, if you're on site, everything better be perfect.
Because
all those files better be up to date.
They can find you. They can just walk into your office and give you a hard time, right?
The board president this is a great story, yeah. So the board president was a very robust man, and he'd come in the office and he'd sit there all day with me, and he would I'm not talking to the mic very well, but he would sit in the office all day and just would not allow me to do work.
He's in the office
He just wanted to come in and hang out with you.
Hang out. And so I'd always say, hey,
call that job security.
Yeah, I think he just liked him.
Here's what I would do. I'd say, hey, I'm going to go take a property walk. Do you want to join? And, oh, yeah, I'd love to go. And I'd walk pretty briskly. And about 2 blocks in, he'd always start huffing and puffing and say, hey, I'll see you later. I gotta go home. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And then I'd go back to the office and start doing my work.
How long were you an on-site manager for? And if you had to choose, if you had the opportunity now with the right community, would you choose to be a portfolio manager or an on-site manager?
I would do portfolio.
Instead?
Yeah.
You kind of want a different thing. So you like all just pitches coming at you from different angles, and you want something spicy in your community association career. You don't want the same old boring community. Is that what you're saying?
Not only that, but board members are somewhat flippant. And so if you're an on-site...
Jonathan doesn't know what that word means.
I haven't read it in the Davis Sterling Act.
But so if you're on site, I mean, you're kind of at the whims of these board members, for your livelihood.
And there could be a change in board members completely.
Yeah.
And they may want a new team for no reason at all other than they want their own team rather than the old team.
Or they've seen how fast he walks.
A lot of corporations, he's in too good a shape. Yeah, I've had some board members, and they would say that to me. They'd say, look, I come from the corporate world. I used to be an executive for a big company, and when we would come in and say take over or, merge or what have you, and so now it's bringing a new team, a new attorney, new CPA, new community association manager. So that's what you mean by at the whim, right?
And it's really not fair for the attorney. It's not fair for the manager, not fair for anybody because – at the end of the day, you're executing the decisions of the board, and the new board can disagree with those decisions. But
they could have a different agenda.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Like last board wanted to make sure the wrought iron fences got painted. Now there's an election. There's a new board, and they're going, no. We don't want to do that anymore. We're going to go in a different direction.
You hear that all the time, right? How about
we want to resurface the pool deck.
How about sports teams, right? Sports teams, and how do they put it? A new owner comes in, a new GM, right, for a professional football team or basketball team or baseball team. They come in and go, we're going to go in a different direction, and you'll think about it. You go, wow, the manager, the coach, they were great. That doesn't matter. It's just
overhaul.
There's a lot of great people.
Complete
and a lot
overhaul.
And what I always think of is in those terms, you can't get your feelings hurt because as community association attorneys, we have a lot of clients. We're not on site or anything like that, so we don't have. But you're saying that's all your eggs in one basket.
Too many.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I've had friends that kind of have been victim to that, and it's a scary feeling. People have livelihoods that they're counting on for these things, and unfortunately there's a lot of board members that are great. And there's a lot that it kind of goes to their head.
I'm going to give a shout out to one, Wally Rick. He's a great guy. He's a great board member. He calls in, and you work with him.
Yeah, he's a great board member. He's been on the board for a property that we manage for a number of years, an original owner. And he's really passionate in making sure that the community is the best that it can be.
I agree.
And, he's faced situations where people disagree with his decisions. But, as long as you're operating in good faith, which I think he does, I feel he does, you're not going to please everybody, especially when you get into those larger communities.
Wally Rick is a regular on our show. We are proud to say. Did Mr. Canner know this?
Well, maybe sometimes. I don't know. He's a facilitator occasionally. So what is that rule, though? He said as long as they're acting in their best judgment. Why don't you give us some legal spiel here, right? Board members are required to act.
Business judgment rule.
This is your spotlight right here. What is it called? Business judgment rule or fiduciary duty? What is it?
I like to hear Jonathan explain it. Jonathan's not an attorney, but he has this stuff down cold. So that's the.
I don't have my laptop in front of me today. I can't cheat and Google
Normally he just Wikipedias these things.
What is it? Act in good faith, right?
You got it. The kid has it. So it's what you're talking about is Wally Rick. He makes great decisions. Not everyone's going to agree with those decisions. This is the fiduciary duty. You can't please all people all the time. And with the fiduciary duty rule, right, Corporation Code, it says board members, they must act in good faith, and they must act in the best interest of the association as a whole. They must make decisions that are outside their expertise only after consulting with a competent expert. Yeah, and so Wally Rick, how he works is the epitome of the fiduciary duty.
Some of the things he's done, and you've probably worked with him on going and getting grants and going green for the community. It's pretty amazing, some of the things that he's done.
Is that something that is a high priority actually during the drought? Going green, is that still something that board members are thinking about, or is it more, wow, let's just see what we can do to actually make it through successfully the drought, or maybe the drought's over, so maybe they are thinking more, let's go green, especially in the Bay Area. As far as our nation, the Bay Area, that is a real epicenter of going green, right?
Yeah, actually, ironically enough, we had a gentleman come into our office recently and was talking about ways to reduce water, and he was saying
usage. Was he from like a state
no, it
agency
was a private company.
Private company.
Yeah, and he was saying that in the United States, annually 10 trillion gallons of water are used, and 60% of that is for irrigation.
Yeah,
and on average, 30% of irrigation water is wasted water.
Yep, I know. I believe it. I drive around all the time and see sprinklers.
Well, it's not even those
shooting in the street.
The sprinklers that you see going on the sidewalk and all that stuff is small potatoes compared to the line breaks underneath the ground, just the wasted the old drippy systems that just there's so much great technology out there.
Sad we're wasting all that water.
What about, have you guys seen, I think they're called micro sprinkler heads, where it sprays in a real fine
like a pattern.
Yeah. So that's at our law firm, at our building, they have those installed, and
for low water usage.
It really looks like it makes a difference.
All right, real quick then, because we're going to go to break in 2 minutes, and that's, I'm assuming, a vendor that came in to give you this education on water.
A partner,
right?
Yeah.
A partner. What do you look for? Because you're a successful portfolio manager because you but work with as a team. Tripartite, is that what you said?
Oh, the tripartite relationship.
What do you look for in a good vendor to work with you and your community associations? There's got to be a profile when you run through the list and you go, you know what, this vendor's got what I need. What is it? What are they? What are characteristics?
It's a partnership, kind of like what Brad was saying earlier. You got to be responsive to me, and I need to be able to trust you. If you say, "Hey, I'm going to get you the bid on this day," and I have to remind you 100 times to get it in, it's already a bad.
You want them to be reliable.
Start. Yeah,
timeliness.
Really need to be reliable.
Yeah,
trustworthy, and knowledgeable.
References? Do you always cross-reference and check some of their, previous projects?
It just depends. If it's new to our office or new to the area, then yes. But fortunately, we do have so many trusted vendors that throughout the years have developed such a great reputation for doing a great job. At the end of the day, everybody wants to do a great job. We just need to allow these people to have the opportunity to do that.
Words of wisdom.
Right, coming from this guy. The golfer / portfolio manager, Brandon Canner.
We'll be back in just a minute with Brandon Canner. I was about to say that.
Hi, I'm Morgan Fussell. My company, Broadband Agreements, negotiates cable television and broadband right of entry, access, and compensation agreements for your communities. At Broadband Agreements, we offer a free review of all agreements with a signed letter of authorization. Broadband Agreements will improve your community's income and/or savings, or you don't pay us a dime. Visit us at broadbandagreements.com. That's broadbandagreements.com. Or call me, Morgan Fussell, directly at 916-939-5026. That's 916-939-5026. Broadband Agreements online at broadbandagreements.com or 916-939-5026.
The challenges presented by today's economy and rebounding housing market is forcing many homeowners association boards of directors to operate their HOAs more like a business. It's a balancing act of trying to stay solvent and still provide homeowners with quality amenities and services. One of the main challenges HOA boards are facing is attempting to recover unpaid HOA fees owed by delinquent homeowners. Collection efforts are often very time-consuming. If you want to get the HOA fees collection monkey off of your back, call ATC Assessment Collection Group. ATC is an attorney-supervised collection company providing collection and foreclosure services to HOAs in both California and Nevada's most recognizable communities. Get back to what you actually volunteered to do as an HOA board member. Effectively oversee your community. Call ATC today at 916-641-1410. That's 916-641-1410. Online at atcacg.com. That's atcacg.com. ATC Assessment Collection Group. Professional Parking Enforcement, or PPE, was created to provide effective parking solutions for all types of parking issues. PPE focuses on parking problems of HOAs and can quickly eliminate these problems through their system of property inspection, violation updating, ticketing, and enforcement. Contact PPE today at 702-283-0628, online at ppenv.com. PPE, promoting harmony in HOAs through parking and compliance enforcement. We take time to understand your community's needs.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We solve small problems before they become big ones.
Silver Creek Association Management.
We help make your community a better place to live.
Silver Creek Association Management.
It's what we do, because an association is more than just a bunch of homes. It's a community of people. We work with you to make better communities so homeowners can enjoy better lives.
Silver Creek Association Management. Online at sc-manage.com. That's sc-manage.com.
News, opinion, insight. AM 1380, The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. And now your hosts, Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
Man, look at this. What is that song, Frank? Can you give us the name of that again on the air? Oh, okay. Six Flags theme. I'm just fascinated. I'm looking at this poster right here in the studio. It's Doomsday or Redemption Day, Trump versus Hillary. But we got to talk about HOAs. So
exactly.
We're not
This is the Saturday HOA Brunch. With us today is Brandon Canner with First Service Residential. So happy he's here. How long have we been trying to get him on the show?
78 episodes.
78 episodes.
Yeah. And finally, we were able to hog tie him and hold him hostage in Sacramento. So
and the nerve of the guy, he wants to ask us questions.
Yeah.
I love it.
He goes, you know what, where are we going to breakfast? And at the break, like, there's another question.
Well, I think that is what makes a good manager. You have to you have to be assertive. You have to take control, and yet you have to always bear in mind that it's not your association. You know, it's funny that I will go to different meetings, of course, and, live interaction with homeowners and board members and vendors, and there will be some homeowners there who will really think it is the manager's association. And I just scratch my head. It's not the manager's association, Mr. or Ms. Homeowner. It's your association. And a lot of homeowners also like to just make complaints and never get involved. And that's definitely a pet peeve with managers. It's, quit throwing bottles from the balcony, get involved. So as a manager, do you like a lot of involvement with committees, or do you like just to be more of a centralized, just a board of directors and run with that?
That's a great question. So do you look forward to seeing a large audience of members in your community, or you're like, all right, None of the usual suspects are here, so we're going to plow through this meeting tonight and take care of business.
It depends. If you're there, if you have, there's problems that come up in every association, and if you have solutions for that, but if you just want to be, the Ted Cruz, then
I like it. He's throwing that out, the kid.
So he's not going to. He won't endorse us then, right?
Good job, Brandon.
Ted Cruz, Community Association Management. Is that what you just compared yourself to?
No.
No.
The angry homeowner is the Ted Cruz. Yeah. No.
But what I mean is, do you like to see community involvement, or do you prefer?
You need it. You have to have it.
You want it.
The best communities are those that involve. They have committees, but it all falls down on the board because they have to set the parameters for these committees. If they just say, hey, we have a parking issue, we'll set up a parking committee, and they have no direction, they have no, here's what you should do, or here's what the expectation is.
And then you call Brian Hunt.
Yeah.
Not to play golf, but for PPE.
PPE has been fantastic for us in a number of properties.
Yeah, that must be frustrating. You want to be on a committee at an association, and yet you don't have a real mission. What exactly are we trying to achieve? I've seen some really great committees, though, especially lately.
What's the best committee you've seen?
Oh, the best committee I've seen.
Or most unique.
Easy. It's the litigation committee. In one of our construction defect cases, and we have a great litigation committee, and it's usually just one or two people, and we'll have the weekly teleconference and just move that case along quickly, efficiently. Yeah, and plus,
litigation committees.
Yeah, a lot of those who get on litigation committees. And it's not something I think is a requirement to be on a committee. I think just interest is, and a level of competence as interest in the association. But I've had some litigation committee members that are just fantastic attorneys or company owners. Very impressive people that I've learned a lot about really getting from point A to point B in a business sense successfully. So yeah, great committees, especially litigation committee. ARCs, some of those architecture review committees. That over the years they'll stay on it for many years and really run a good ship, right?
Yeah,
Mr.
we
Canner?
have a couple. Yeah, the architectural is always.
What's your favorite committee? Do you have any fun committees?
Oh, social committee.
Social committees that plan events for your communities. Like, hey, we're gonna have
that's more of a senior association,
like an over 55 thing. Maybe we should talk about that next week. Over 55s.
Absolutely, let's do that.
That'd be a fun topic.
Yeah. Senior associations, they will have many. I know some associations that have in the teens. Of committees and clubs.
Travel committee, bridge committee, paddleball
You're talking
committee.
more those master plan communities.
Yeah.
The softball committee.
Right.
I mean, there's
Or actually not just by virtue of being a senior committee, because a lot of them don't have a daytime. They don't have a job. They're retired, most of them. And so what you'll have is a lot of people that want to get involved.
I think those are attractive communities that have a lot of interaction and activities.
Like one I know, and there are 200 homes, no master plan, nothing like that, and yet they have about 10 committees, about 5 clubs, and great involvement.
That's good.
Great association, absolutely.
It's the new country club.
It's what?
These
communities with committees?
Built like
my
crazy.
grandmother, she belonged to the country club for a number of years. And
Which one?
Del Paso.
In
Sacramento.
Damn, wow. What a nice course.
Yeah. And she, it's such an active life that she even now has. Yeah.
Well, in our last minute together, we really want to thank Brandon Canner with First Service Residential.
I hope his agent lets him come back again.
For visiting us, right.
Yeah.
And we were able to avoid all his questions. Isn't that great, Jonathan?
I thought that hour flew by.
Yeah,
Do you want to know that you're also getting the certificate from the Saturday HOA Brunch as the first line manager to be in studio? Right?
Well, I hope it's laminated.
That's it. This first. He's not a VP. He's not an owner. First portfolio
Number one,
manager.
the kid. I love it.
Yeah, and it was really. We got a really good rate through his talent agency and everything.
They said that this was the highest rated show. You had 6 listeners.
Yeah. Again, we want to thank you, Brandon. Any closing thoughts? Anything?
I do. I would just say that, regardless of every manager wants to do a great job, you just got to give them the opportunity to do it.
All right. Thanks to our listeners in the Philippines.